Okay, last day we have discussed about preparing computer specification and how practically we have seen how can we see these specifications like processor speed, RAM capacity, then hard disk storage. We saw how to do these things last day. Practically actually see the details about your computer. That is what we have learned last day. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to write some notes mainly, and also we will learn about motherboard and also about the slots and ports a little, and then about these peripheral devices as well as different type of users that use the computer. This is interesting part, and stay connected. So you will learn a lot of things today. Right. The first thing is peripheral devices. Peripheral devices. So what are these peripheral devices? Okay, if a device is external, right? So simply, if a device is external, we call that device a peripheral device. Basically, you have something called motherboard in your computer. That is where the main components of your computers are connected. Almost all the computers, it's like your mother. That's why it's called motherboard. Almost all these children, all children are connected with mother. They share information with mother. Actually, mother is kind of a facilitator, helper, mentor here also. So this motherboard is facilitating, and it's facilitating to connect all other devices. This is what the motherboard is. It is inside the system unit, and there are different motherboards. So let's see. I will zoom one of these images. So you can see in motherboard, there is a one side where it opens some ports, connection to the integrated peripherals. The outside devices are connecting through these ports. Okay, then inside the motherboard also there are some interfaces. Those are called slots. DRAM memory slots, IDE connector slots, AGP slots, PCI slots. These are then CPU socket. These are allowing different kind of circuit boards to connect to the motherboard directly. Actually, your processor is kind of a chip, a micro. It's a microprocessor. We call microprocessor. Or it is ultra large scale or very large scale integrated circuit. That itself is a circuit, right? Integrated circuit. That itself is a circuit. So this circuit can be directly connected to the motherboard through this processor socket. Right? Through this processor socket, you can connect that directly to the motherboard. And what else? And then the memories, RAMs are connected to this DRAM slots. Then VGA cards, then network cards, and all these circuit boards are connected to these PCI slots. Actually, those are not peripherals. Those are not external. Those are connected directly to the motherboard. So none of these are, so RAM, CPU, motherboard, and this VGA, then network, none of these components are peripherals. These are non-peripherals. Okay, if you want, I can show you small video how these devices are connected. Okay, let's see that quickly. This process is called assembling a computer. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is what the motherboard is. And this is where the yellow color thing, that is to connect your random access memory. And this is what the random access memory is. This is what the random access memory is connected to this yellow color slots. It's a circuit board. This is your hard disk. But it is connected in a wire because it is a peripheral. This is your processor, central processing unit. It is connected to this processor socket. And this is the processor fan. Why processor need a fan? Yes.
Cool
Why?
the CPU down.
Sorry?
To cool the CPU down when it heats
Cool
up.
down the CPU. Because CPU is getting hot. And it is because of it's always working. And it's because of its processing power. It generates, right? It generates heat, a lot of heat. So you need CPU fan to cool down that. This is your CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, and this is the power unit because everything needs for power ultimately. That is also a non-peripheral, right? Even though it has wires, it is not a peripheral, it's a non-peripheral because it supplies the power. So let's see how he is connecting. He's connecting the processor first, mounting in the processor socket. Make it again, processor socket here. He's mounting into processor socket. Okay, after mounting it, he's fixing. That's very easy. Just put this clip and it will be fixed. See how simple that is? Then this is actually processor blue. Why you need this blue? Because the heat sink will easily absorb when you put this blue, heat sink will easily absorb the heat. That is why. Okay, then the fan. You can connect the fan using the four corners by just putting the screws. Okay. Keep that and then fix the screws. That's it. It's very simple. Okay. After putting the screws, so let's see how the RAM is fixed. Because you need to get an idea here. You can see all four screws fixed. So processor is now fixed well. The motherboard or the motherboard. Motherboard is a nickname or the short name. Okay, here's the guy. This is the casing or CPU cabinet. This is what comes as a new thing. Sometimes when you buy a computer, the sellers are only putting a new casing. All other things are old, used components. But you don't realize why. The components inside the casing is brand new. You think the computer is brand new. It's not. Only the casing is brand new, right? It's like a new paint, but old engine, all gearbox, everything old, but very brand new paint is there. But paint does nothing. The main key component of a vehicle is engine and the gearbox and the wheel set and the chassis. It's not the outside paint. So be careful. Okay. He's using brand new casing. Very good. And you need to fix this motherboard or the motherboard to the casing. Casing can be with colorful lights, LEDs. නේද? ඔයාලව තවත් අහු වෙනවනේ එතකොට LED ටිකක් දාලා lights ටිකක් දාලා. It's a gaming casing. Wow. But that is not going to solve your problem. You have to think about what is inside. Okay, he's removing the casing. Then here, to this place, you have to fix the motherboard or the motherboard using screws. See here, these wires are going to the front for the power on switch and front USB, front USB power on switches, audio. ඉස්සරහට එන ඒවා තියෙන්නේ. Motherboard එකකින් ඉස්සරහට එන audio, power on switch. All these are using that. Okay, now the motherboard here, which is fixed with the processor, is put in that and then connecting the screws and power unit you need to fix with the casing. Okay. In this step, he's fixing these things. First the power unit, then the motherboard. Okay, then the okay. And you can note one thing after doing this process. So see this carefully. After fixing the motherboard this way, there are some ports coming out of the motherboard. There are some ports coming out of the motherboard from these holes to connect the peripherals. That is what we are going to learn now. You can see the audio port, USB port, VGA port, serial port, parallel port, different ports are there. These are just coming out of this casing because that is where you connect your keyboard, mouse, printer, scanner, all the peripherals. Okay. Right. After fixing the motherboard, it's very easy. You have to like mount the hard disk. Hard disk also peripheral, but we are putting that inside the casing. That doesn't matter. That is external to the motherboard. We call that peripheral, right? You're fixing it using screws. You can put 2 screws and fix to the bay of the hard disk. So because it should not like you can just keep the hard disk inside the casing, but fixing is better because then it is not moving. Then the RAM is easy to mount. Just push it and it will be automatically connected. There is a side, you have to think about that very carefully. It's not fixing both sides. Okay, RAM is mounted, CD, DVD drive. You can mount it to which is like you can mount it to the same position which is above the hard disk. Just remove one bay, just open one of these. So you can remove that part and fix your DVD on there. Okay, after fixing this, you can put the screws. Some of you might have done this already, but some are not familiar. That's why I'm showing. Similar way, I will show you how to connect how to assemble a laptop. I'll show you that step also. Okay, you are connecting the hard disk and the CD now. These are slots. So these are ports, the starter port. Because CD is also peripheral, DVD is also peripheral. Similar way, you can fix the hard disk. Sometimes DVD cable and hard disk cable are same, then we call SATA. But this one is like old hard disk. It is IDE or SATA. This hard disk now you cannot find. It's not there normally. Now you have SATA hard disk. Same red cable is there for hard disk also. Then the power connector. Okay, after connecting all these things, right? You have to connect the front USB, front audio, etc. Front USB and front audio. All the cable connection part is here. Here front USB, front audio. Just connect. So there are labels, so you can easily find this. Okay, after connecting everything, you can close the casing and then turn on the machine. That's it. And you can see your computer is up and running now. It's not a difficult thing. You can also learn. It's very easy. Right. Okay. Now let's move to the note. I said that I will be giving note today. So please write down the main heading, preparing computer specifications. Under that, please write the subheading, peripheral devices, and then write this part. Okay, no need to write the Sinhala one, the English one you can write. Right, in next thing, so there are, okay, we have discussed about the motherboard, and so what is connected to the motherboard? Basically, input devices, all the input devices, all the output devices, all the input devices, all the output devices, and all the secondary storage devices are mainly peripherals, right? Input devices like keyboard, mouse, scanner, webcam, microphone, all are peripherals. Output devices like screen, printer, head-mounted device, plotter, speakers, those are also peripherals. Secondary storage like CD, DVD, hard disk, and pen drive, memory cards, all are peripherals. Peripherals are connected to connected externally. How these peripherals connected? We didn't see that. Oh no, we saw the motherboard, but motherboard has a back panel like this. Motherboard has a back panel. Motherboard එක පිටිපස්සේ back panel එක තමයි අර එළියට ආවේ. That is what came out from the casing. Right? Then to this port, these peripheral devices are connected. Can you recognize these ports? Let's see. Okay. Can you recognize these ports? Okay. So where the monitor is connected? This blue color one, that is called which port? That is called VGA port. That is where the screen is connected. And then you can see very common one. So this, all of you know. What is this? Yes, Pute? What are these? Hello, you can talk. You can unmute yourself.
USB.
Yes, that is USB, Universal Serial Bus. USB. It's very common. Almost all the kind of devices are supporting these USB connections now. USB. Okay. Then you have something here that is called PS2. But this is bit old, right? PS2. Personal System 2. That is old keyboard mouse were connected to this. Then you have some new one. This is HDMI, high definition media interface. High definition audio and video are connected here. HDMI, high definition audio, video connected here. Normal audio goes here. Normal audio is connected here. Actually, the purple color one is for microphone. And the green color one is for the speakers or headphones. And then you have another one, that is this blue color one. That is too, like microphone is recording. No? If you want to directly give audio input, this is it, audio in or line in. You can use keyboard organ, and using organ, you can give input there. Organ can be connected through line in to this one. Okay, these are called ports. Ports are used to connect peripherals. You can have a screenshot of this. You can have a screenshot of this. Okay, finish. Right, let's move to the next one. Next is we are going to recognize different type of users. First of all, let's quickly write down because time is really critical. So let's write down first, then I will explain this, right? So what you're going to learn here, you're going to learn about the different type of users. So one category is you can consider the generic type of users. General users can be divided into advanced, casual, or basic, or novice users. Advanced users or hardcore users are basically power users. They can do powerful stuff in the computer, basically administrators, super users, root, or the main user, or managers sometimes, at the like network administrators. They are kind of power users. They can do a lot with the computer. They have more permission. Advanced features can be controlled and configured. Then the normal users like you and me, casual. So we need a little amount of support. We are not advanced. Actually, I have some advanced knowledge in some sections only. I'm not a fully advanced user. Some areas I have advanced. I have worked as advanced user in some areas, but not all the areas. Mostly I'm using the computer as a regular user. But most of you belongs to this category, novice or the basic users. You are new. You are new to the computer. Okay, please write down the heading, generic type of users. And no need to write down the singular one. Just write all three with the. So I'm not going to give you this note. So you have to write down. Initially, later I will give the notes, but not now. Please write down this. Right. So who are these users? So that is very important thing to know. Administrators. Administrators are basically kind of a power user. They are basically sometimes network administrators, system administrators. They have superpowers. They can manage the network. They can manage the computer, users, etc. Right. Last 3 points is all I will give, don't worry, right? Last 3 points I will give. So no English points there. Okay, I will explain that. That is like, that is for the not in, like only you have noted that, means others have not written that, it seems. Okay. Then system analyst. System analyst is the person who transform, right? System analyst is the person who transform a business or the real world system to a technical system. Actually, he initiates the transformation. So why? Let's say developers are developing a banking system. Actually, these developers are not having proper idea about how bank functions. Or let's say developers are developing about the school system. Then the developers are not having enough knowledge about the school. But this analyst is the person who analyzes what will happen in the school. That is the business case. He will see what is really happening in the school and what school needed, and that will be transformed to the, actually he will give instructions to the development team how to transfer this case, business case, to a software or solution. Software engineer is a person who engineers software, right? Engineer software means he is responsible for each and every phase of the software development. There are a lot of phases like system designing, system development, and system testing, system deployment. Likewise, there are several steps we will learn. So several steps are there when you develop a software. He is responsible for each and every phase of the software development, and he's a kind of a knowledge person who can involve in all these activities in a supervising level. Animator, nice job. So he's the person who is activating, who is animating hypothetical scenarios. Hypothetical means not true. So in Fieldstone, have you seen this Fieldstone, that Borolugoda and Galpatha fellow? So these fellows are there in cartoon. Are they real? They are not. They are hypothetical. They are hypothetical characters. And in Asterix, so you have different characters in Asterix, right? Surapapa. So in there also there are different characters. These are not real. That is hypothetical. So actually animators are responsible for model such hypothetical things. They are creating the motion graphics. Blogger is basically writing web articles, web related articles. You can also become a blogger if you have interest. Maybe you can write about your motherland. You can write about maybe a subject. You can write about yourself. You can write about tours, different countries, different ethnic groups in the world. And so the readers of the blog, it's like a newspaper, right? Blog is like a newspaper. People will come to read that if it is interesting. Then a tracker, a dangerous hacker. Tracker is a dangerous hacker. It's not a normal hacker. kind of a very dangerous hacker, because the intention of tracker to anyway destroy the system, right? Not just to build the system, not just to hack the system. So he's trying to destroy the system. That is basically the role of tracker. Tracker is more dangerous hacker. So that's it. And okay, then developer is the person who really who do the coding part, who really convert the design, system design or the plan to the actual system. So it's a stage of the development. Software developer is like when house is built, there are like mason bosses and all of these people. This like they are basically they are concreting all these things. They are doing the like the production work. They are basically production engineers. They are not they are not responsible for all the tasks, but for the production only. End user is poor users like you and me, right? Innocent poor users like you and me. We are going to use whatever available to us after development. A gamer is basically a person who play games. That is also a job, because gamers are highly demanded. They are to test games. They are to test the games. They are to practice the games. They are to promote the games. So this gamer is also a kind of a job role. Graphic artist is basically designing graphics. Hacker is a basic hacker. It's not a cracker, not that much of dangerous, but he will access the systems in an unauthorized way. Without permission, he will access the system. Newbie is a new user, right? Power user, we already learned. These are high privilege users like super users, administrators. Programmer is also like developer. He's also writing the codes. Strip kiddie. Maybe if you like hacking, you can see some codes are available in the internet. Some tools are available. If you're practicing those tools and practicing these strips, so you are called strip kiddie, right? You are not a dangerous hacker, but you can see the codes here and there. You copy this and test it. So in most of the cases happen in Sri Lanka is because of these strip kiddies. You saw the president's site was hacked. That is a strip kiddie. That is not a professional hacker. Basically a strip kiddie. He has tried some strip taken from some other place. Super users like administrators, web designers, designing web surfers are basically browsing the content. They are searching. That is also a job, right? Multimedia authoring, like creating audio, video, everything. So that is their task. Computer application assistant is basically they are using the computer. They are also end users. Content creators, you have seen this Ratta fellow and all these fellows are coming under these content creators, Chanuk's bro. So they are basically connecting, creating content for social media, for YouTube, Facebook, etc. Twitter. Then drone operators or the pilots, they are operating drones. That's very simple. That is also a professional job. Scientists and researchers, they do various experiments using computers. So those people are also there in this level. So those are the users who are using it. That's like we have mentioned a few, but there are hundreds of users. But I just took some main. But there are hundreds of such users, database administrators, right? Interface designers, database administrators, UI UX designers, UI UX engineers, CIOs, CSOs, different roles are there, but I just mentioned a few. Okay, Pute, with that we can stop for today. Next day we will be discussing more things about like a hardware part, the assembling part, as well as I couldn't discuss properly about the slots and ports. I'll be discussing that next day. Then good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.